Hey, what's up all? My name's Ron. I'm going to give you a tutorial on MS Access. And on the first tutorial, I'm going to create a database for a school containing a table called students. So to do so, I'm going to go up to the File menu and click New and then Blank Desktop Database. And I'm going to name this School DB for School Database, and I'll hit Create. Alright, initially when you do this, Access will create a table for us called Table 1. And you can see it has a column already called ID, and this is what Access creates to uniquely identify each row of data. Tables consist of rows and columns. Columns can contain things like the student ID, the student name, the email address, and the grade. And then rows are each unique student. Alright, so let's say I want to create a students table, and in this case I'm going to rename the ID column to be student ID. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on that column name. There's a menu option called rename field, and I will type student ID. And then to add additional columns, you can use the click to add button or use the drop down, and you get different options, different types of columns we can add. And for the name, I'm just going to pick short text, and then I'm going to call it SName for student name. And if I wanted to, I could have had a first name field, middle name, last name, but I'll make this a really simple example and just have one field for the entire name. There are, of course, reasons why you would want to have that separated for, programming reasons and SQL, where you would be able to refer to the data just by part of the name, the first name. So for best practices, you probably would want to do that. But I think, like I said, for this easy example, I'm just going to have one field for the name. All right, so I can click on add additional fields such as email, and that's of course text. And then I can also add maybe a number field for the grade level. So I'll add a field called grade. All right, so right now I don't have any data, but I can go ahead and just click and start typing, and that will add a new student to our table. All right, so I've added a row to the table, and if I want, I can add a second one. All right. I want to show you something else. There's a little drop down thing here under view, which lets you switch your view between data sheet view and design view. Design view gives you another way to look at this table, and once you do that switch, it asks us to save the table, and I'm going to essentially rename this table now to students from table 1, and I'll hit OK. And now we have a students table. At this point, we have a unique identifier called student ID, the student name, the email, and the grade. And this is what the design view looks like. It lists each field name or column name on the first column, and then the second column is the type. All right, so let's say I want to tweak some of these attributes for the columns. And you can't see them in my screenshot, so I'm going to go ahead and resize the window here so you can. But each column has several attributes under General within MS Access, and then, whichever one's selected is what you're seeing here. So let's say I want to change the field size of the name from 255 characters to a shorter number. And you might want to do that just to save space in your database so you're not wasting as much space. So I'll change that to 50, and the email address I'll set it to 50 as well. Now again, there could be reasons why you may not want to do that. Maybe you possibly do have someone that has an email address greater than 50, and in that case, you'd have to change the field size and increase it. So be mindful of those kinds of things. And then the grade, we have it set to a number, and right now the field size is a long integer, which is a pretty good size number, which is bigger than we really need for a grade number. So if I want, I can change that to single or integer. So it will basically store less data in the database. Alright, so I've made a few changes. Now I'll go ahead and close this, and one way is by clicking on the tab called Students and use the Save menu. And it's giving us a warning because I shrank the grade field from a long integer to just an integer. You can pretty much just say yes at this point. And then I'll close the table. And if I want, I can reopen it and look at our data and add additional data. Alright, so that's the video on how to create a table in MS Access. Thanks for watching.